Hi, my name is Dave Guyman, and this is my reflection video about my experience as a graduate student in the MET program at Boise State University. My decision to enroll in graduate school was a sudden one. In fact, the decision and completion of the application process both occurred in a single afternoon. At the time, I didn't know what inspired me to pursue my master's degree, but now, 2 years later, I know how I've been inspired. In the fall of 2013, I had just made the transition from teaching elementary school in a brick-and-mortar building to helping grow an online middle school program in the same district. I had only been out of college for 3 years, but I had hit the ground running. At the time, I had started to explore educational technology as I encountered it through my professional learning network on Twitter. And it was that curious application of EdTech that created the opportunity for me to join our district's online team. Not coincidentally, it was about this time that I became an online student at Boise State. Admittedly, the vision I entered the MET program with was simply to figure out a way to make technology a regular part of my day as an educator. I didn't know what that meant or what it would look like, but I knew that technology made teaching and learning more fun for me and my students. As I began my first semester in the MET program, I quickly came to realize that I wasn't going to need to wait to apply what I would learn to what I did in my job at the time. Rather, in my first class, I used the online school that I had recently joined as the subject matter for a project about digital inequity. This EdTech 501 project impacted me in two very distinct ways. First, it introduced me to the concept of digital inequity, its root causes, and the value of having an ongoing discussion about bridging that gap. And second, it caused me to look at what I was doing as more than simply earning a paycheck by doing something fun. Instead, I started looking at how the infrastructure, culture, interactions, and expectations that we possessed at the online school both caused and addressed issues of digital inequity. And as a result, I became more mindful of the responsibility I had bestowed upon me as not only an educator, but an advocate of 21st century technology-enabled learning. Mainly, the imperative to provide internet access and training to both students and parents so that they could take charge of their education and success as citizens in an increasingly digital world. Having been a content consumer for most of my life, I quickly learned the importance and opportunity to become a content creator. In EdTech 502, I was introduced to website design with HTML5 and CSS3. Though I had initially thought it out of place for such a concept to be taught in an educational technology program, I soon came to understand the power that creating and publishing content online has for both teaching and learning. Isn't it ironic that I, an online teacher, hadn't yet made the connection between a disruptive innovation such as e-learning and my ability to drive the development of e-learning content? Thankfully, I do now. But it wasn't until I had created my own virtual field trip, WebQuest, and interactive concept map that I came to see my role as an internet-using educator as more than just an instructional delivery man. Having overcome that narrow-sightedness, I came to see my role and the roles of all educators as an active creator of online learning opportunities for students of all kinds. It was sometime later that I noticed that all my students were talking about was Minecraft. A global phenomenon, Minecraft is a virtual sandbox-style game that allows users to gather, hunt, and build in an endless world in order to survive. Players of the game can play by themselves on their own computer or play together by connecting computers on a network. Naturally, I wanted to figure out how to play Minecraft on a network, and so I used this as an opportunity to learn more about networking in EdTech 541. This research project helped me to better understand functions of networking architecture, such as the difference between local area networks and wide area networks, the role and function of routers and modems, what a server is and how to set one up, and much more. A side of technology that I had not considered much before, it was this Minecraft project that also piqued my interest in network and data security. It inspired me to learn about keeping a local area network safe and also what companies of instructional software products were doing to protect students' privacy and data. Little did I know that figuring out how to set up an infrastructure for Minecraft Party would teach me so many things about my responsibilities as an educational technologist and open a new door for me in my own career. At this point, I was roughly halfway done with my MET program. Still teaching online school, I was contacted on Twitter by a fellow MET classmate who was a technology director in a school district a couple hours away from where I was. He said that he had seen some of my work in the MET program and asked if I would be interested in coming to his district to provide some professional development sessions for the teachers he worked with. I jumped at the opportunity, but little did I know that as a result of this relationship, months later, I would be uprooting my family and life in Idaho Falls and moving to Haley, Idaho to accept a job as an instructional technology specialist in my graduate classmates' department. Among other qualifications, the learning and growth that I had demonstrated in the MET program prepared me to make this change. And it has been this new position that I have both applied what I have been learning from my graduate coursework and come to the conclusion of my program. In my new role in the technology department, I was given the task of planning the logistics of a school-wide one-to-one Chromebook rollout. The program had been piloted at the high school in a cart-based model the year before. Now, with a month until school began again, I was faced with designing a program that would not only put Chromebooks in the hands of some 800 students, but teach them how to use and care for them, as well as how to become empowered digital citizens. Naturally, this project was a multifaceted process, but one tangible artifact from the one-to-one rollout that I had planned is a presentation that teachers used in their classrooms to introduce the rollout to their students. This presentation, which I designed and trained teachers on facilitating, addressed issues from explaining what a Chromebook is and how it is different from a regular laptop, to how Chromebooks can be used effectively in the classroom, to how students can protect their personal information and identities through becoming actively engaged digital citizens. After each student participated in this discussion-based presentation, they were required to take a quiz about Chromebook use to qualify for a district-provided device. Students could take this quiz, which was created with a self-grading Google form, as many times as they would like, until they earned a score allowing them to check out a Chromebook. Once an appropriate score was reached, each student was required to agree to and sign a Chromebook insurance policy, which I created from research I had done on similar policies at other one-to-one schools and districts. Overall, I had created the entry events for a one-to-one program that has since turned into a blossoming success. But in hindsight, I know this would not have been possible without the things that I had learned from my MET coursework and professors. Big ideas that influenced the design of this rollout included empowered use rather than responsible use, digital footprints and citizenship, digital inequity in the school and community, relative advantage, and the SAMR model of technology integration. These big ideas and others have also come to describe the final artifact I'd like to speak about here, my e-dossier for EdTech 554. This process of creating this artifact has perhaps had the most profound effect on me in my time enrolled in the MET program. While other courses and projects taught me about principles of effective educational technology integration and administration, creating my e-dossier allowed me to reflect on these and synthesize them into a digital portfolio that has come to define my evolved thinking as an educational technologist. Though I could speak on many of the contents of my e-dossier, there are two that I want to focus on here. First, my leadership metaphor graphic, and second, my CBAM teacher profile. Throughout this course, I explicitly learned a lot about what educational technology can do, but through the experience of applying this knowledge in an actual school setting, I also came to understand the responsibility of a 21st century leader in facilitating technology-enabled learning for both teachers and students. In the metaphor that I created to describe such a leader, I outlined the character traits that I've seen in other successful technology leaders and did a good job in describing how I have seen each trait demonstrated in an authentic setting. But more importantly, As I draw closer to becoming a director of technology myself, the metaphor that I created serves to calibrate my practice and inspire me to do what I know needs to be done in a 21st century school setting. This is an artifact that I both turned into my professor for a grade and then mounted on the wall of my office for inspiration. The CBAM teacher profile left an indelible mark on my paradigm of technology use and training too. For this, I interviewed a science teacher at one of the high schools in my district. Yes, I was able to successfully identify the tier he was on in the CBAM framework, but I also learned a lot about his personal motivations and reservations about technology use in the classroom. Conducting this informal interview helped me to come to a better understanding of his hopes and needs and his expectations of me as a support personnel. I found taking the time to sit down and talk about technology with this teacher taught me the importance of listening to others and engaging with them rather than taking what I believe I know and assuming that my solutions are one size fits all. So, where will I go from here? Ultimately, I plan to be a director of technology for a public school district. Though I have a depth of understanding of educational technology and classroom pedagogy, I plan on continuing to learn more about computer network administration. Perhaps I'll take the summer off and then come back to BSU to get my technology coordinator certificate to complement the certificate in technology integration that I've already earned. But whatever I do, it will be driven by one vision: to provide the best education possible to students in an increasingly digital world. And that vision would have not come to fruition if it weren't for the things that I learned and the experiences that I had as a student enrolled in the MET graduate program at Boise State University.